Good afternoon. A 20-year-old man has been sent to a young offenders institute for 3.5 years for killing 2 teenagers by dangerous driving. Richard Brock reports.
Alan Tomsit from Sheerness was driving this stolen BMW at speeds up to 110 miles an hour when he crashed into another vehicle on the Isle of Sheppey in July last year. 2 of the 3 teenage passengers in the car were killed, 15-year-old Caroline Cinderby and 14-year-old Mark McCullum. All 6 people in the other car were injured. Only Tomsit walked out of the crash virtually unscathed. The parents of the dead teenagers left court after the sentence, still shocked, still grieving.
The great shame of the whole thing is that 2 young lives have been destroyed and a 3rd one has been greatly affected. They can't be brought back, they can't be mended.
Tomsit, who doesn't have a driving licence, admitted he'd smoked a large amount of cannabis before driving the car. Judge Felix Whaley told him it was a miracle he didn't kill more people. He was also ordered to serve a further 9 months for a series of burglaries. Richard Brock at Maidstone Crown Court, Meridian News.
Surgeons are battling to save the life of a young man clubbed unconscious on the Isle of Sheppey. A policeman found the victim lying in a pool of blood in an alleyway by the Sheppey drugstore in Portland Terrace. He's been named as 24-year-old Alan Atfield from Marine Parade in Sheerness. He suffered serious injuries to his head and face and is critical at London's Atkinson Morley Hospital. P&O ferries are scrapping their service between Dover and Boulogne. The move means 39 staff in Boulogne will be made redundant. The remainder are transferring to Calais. The 2 ships involved, the Pride of Hythe and the Pride of Canterbury, will be sold off. Permanent crews won't be affected. P&O says all British crews will retain their jobs with the launch of the new Dover to Calais ferry, Pride of Burgundy, in the spring. It's being claimed that the new European single market could bring a flood of hard drugs into the southeast. Union leaders representing customs staff at Dover say lowering trade barriers will turn Dover into a paradise for drug smugglers. Mark Percy reports.
Down come the familiar red and green customs channels at Dover, and down come the barriers to trade with Europe. Routine baggage inspections are things of the past. But the war on drug smuggling continues, with many uniformed customs officers switching to plainclothes surveillance operations.
We will build on our current successes and we will make a major impact on the drug trafficking in the UK.
Highly trained sniffer dogs are still the pride of the customs service, but union leaders representing customs staff fear lowering of trade barriers under the single market will bring a flood of drugs into Britain.
The drug smuggler will know exactly where the weaknesses are, and I believe there'll be more drugs coming into this country.
In 1992, drug seizures at Dover were up by 1/4, and that despite the ingenious hiding places found by the drugs barons for their evil cargo. Mark Percy, Meridian News.
An overturned lorry has closed a motorway exit on the M2 in Kent. The 38-ton vehicle is lying across the hard shoulder of the Junction 6 Faversham turnoff. The coastbound carriageway is still operating 2 lanes, but the exit won't be cleared until after 10 o'clock tonight. Commuters in the southeast face big rail fare increases today. Prices are up 9.7%, which means season tickets will cost hundreds of pounds more. Philip Hornby reports.
Before dawn at Headcorn, home station of the divisional manager of Network South East. And as he made his way to his first-class compartment, other passengers were furious about the increases.
I think it's disgraceful because, for a start, there's no heating in this carriage this morning. We're all sitting here with our overcoats on. This is the sort of thing we have to put up with.
Do you think people get value for money from British Rail?
No.
You don't get what you pay for.
BR say fares have to rise partly because passenger numbers have dropped. So you should put the prices down and encourage people to use the trains.
Well, that's hardly economic sense. That's the economics of the madhouse. And
wouldn't Marks and Spencer's do that? If they had fewer customers, they'd put their prices down. They'd have a sale.
They may well be able to, but they're not working in an environment where they're working with sponsorship by the government.
The lucky ones, of course, renewed their season tickets on Saturday, beating the rise. Those who didn't arrived today in London angry. For them, it isn't proving to be a very happy new year. Philip Hornby at Charing Cross for Meridian News.
Hurstmonceux Castle in Sussex, the former home of the Royal Observatory, may be sold off. The estate agent Savills refused to confirm reports that they're in negotiations with a Canadian university over the sale, but they've said an announcement's expected in the next few weeks. The castle was sold in 1989 for £8 million, but soon after the new owners went into receivership. The asking price is now around £5 million. Well, they've been holding an antiques roadshow with a difference at the Royal Engineers Museum at Gillingham. It was a case of bring along your old samurai sword or your World War I German helmet, with experts from the museum on hand to give you more information.
It's a Japanese sword that's been in my wife's family for a few years, and we've never really understood or known much about the history of it. And we decided to bring it along to get an expert's appraisal and tell us a bit about the history of it.
Is it a bit odd, perhaps, to have a fascination with something that's been used to goodness knows how many people to death?
I suppose it is, really. I suppose that's part of the fascination. It's a morbid sort of fascination. But I think that is part of the curiosity of the sword.
Visitors also had a chance to see the museum's latest acquisitions, 2 VCs, bringing the total at Gillingham to 22. A dream winter wedding's taken place at a picturesque Kent church, but there was one vital ingredient missing, the traditional peal of bells. Well, an ambitious plan soon put that problem right. Lucy Mayer reports.
Set in the heart of the Kent countryside, St Paul's Church in Rusthall near Tunbridge Wells looks like the ideal place for a dream wedding. But one thing St Paul's lacks is a set of pealing bells. That's why when their son announced he was to get married here, Maurice and Elsie Eames called in the experts to finally make the bells ring at St Paul's for the first time in history. They recorded the bells from this church in their hometown in the Cotswolds and had it played back on the big day in Kent.
Yes, well, I think that you have to do mad things sometimes in your life, don't you? And I think it could, who knows, it might catch on. I mean, it could be a good bit of business in this for the recording man, who knows.
I thought it was really good, actually. I mean, it was Dad's idea, I think, originally, but I was absolutely delighted.
But did the recording from up in the Cotswolds really sound like the real thing? You can decide for yourselves. Lucy Mayer, Meridian News.
Sounds good to me. Something else in the air. New radio stations on the air in Sussex. Eastbourne Local Radio's on a month's trial under a new scheme launched by the Radio Authority. The independent station was launched at midnight on New Year's Eve and is promising a modern community service. Well, that's all from the Meridian newsroom for now. We'll be back with a roundup of all the top stories at 3:15. Join us then.